Hello there. What is going on, everyone? Today we're going to be revisiting director Orson Krennic and putting him with some biker scouts and trying to come up with a different type of Krennic list. Here is a commander I've not run in a long time, and I feel like he's kind of gotten overshadowed by a lot of the newer stuff that's coming out. So I figured this was a good opportunity to throw him back into the fray and see if we can get a nice list going with him. Big thanks to today's sponsor, Luxury Playstyle. We've got all new Legion tokens. They are live now. If you head over to luxuryplaystyle.com, you're going to see the new tokens up there. You can definitely get those now. They're amazing. They're all metal, double-sided. Absolutely gorgeous. I actually did a full review on all of the new tokens. We also have order tokens as well. They come in two different colors. You can get them in red or in blue. They're absolutely amazing. If you use code Crabbok VIP, you are going to save 15%. Orders of $35 or more are going to get a free Crabbok lightsaber nunchuck token. It's great for marking your commander, or it has a 5 for damage on the back as well. So you're really going to love these tokens. Head over to Luxury Playstyle and check them out now. Okay, so we're using Tabletop Admiral today to build a Director Orson Krennic list. So let's go ahead and put him out there. I think he's still a solid overall commander. He is, and he got a little bit of a points reduction, right? He's not 90 points anymore. He's only 75. Makes it a little easier to fit him into things. I still think he's decent. I like his attack, even though it's only range 2, but he's got Surge to Crit on there, and he's got Pierce 1. Like, he's got some good things going on with that attack. And so he can shoot when he needs to shoot. But he's got Compel. Compel's a great option if somebody is suppressed. It's just a really, really cool thing to be able to do, although he only has Courage 2. So he's maybe not the best commander to have Compel, but at least it's an option. He's got Cunning, which is a really good keyword. Allows him to kind of always win those ties, which is a really good thing if you're able to predict what your opponent's going to play. He's got, of course, Entourage Imperial Death Troopers, which is great because you usually want to run him with Death Troopers. And he's got Sharpshooter 1, which got a little bit of a bonus if you're shooting against people with low profile. So that's kind of a cool thing to have. Also, though Sharpshooter 2 is better, but hey, at least he's got something. Now he's defensive. He's only got the the Imperial Cloth on, so he's only got the white die, but he does have at least a Surge for defense. His movement 2, he's kind of middle of the road sort of dude, but he's also got some decent command cards, and I think we can make some use of him with this particular build. Now, what inspired this build is I actually had something of a nightmare the other night that I was getting ready to. It was the strangest nightmare. I don't even know if nightmare is the right word, but when I was going to do a tournament and I had a build that I thought was going to do really, really well, and then it only had one weakness with snipers, and everybody else was running snipers, triple sniper. And I think this has something to do with looking at some of the LVO lists and seeing people are still running triple snipers a lot, and I don't like that. I don't like triple snipers. They're too cheap. They're too effective against too many things. They're action padding, or activation padding, and all of this other stuff. And so I've never been a fan. I've never run triple snipers. I didn't even buy. I think ARC Troopers are the only ones I have triple snipers for, and I haven't run them. I just refused. I said I'm never gonna do this because I think it's too cheesy and too cheap. And I don't play competitive enough that I've got to do something that I hate just to win. So what I'd rather do is do things that can kind of throw a little wrench in snipers, and kind of mess them up a little bit. And Krennic's one thing he kind of can do that. He has, he's got a lot of suppression mechanics built into him. He has that command card that can put suppression on everybody, which could potentially make some snipers panic and run off the board. And so you've got some things like that. But I thought that's where I came up with the biker idea. So I'm going to start off with 3 speeder bikes. I haven't run speeder bikes in a long time either, so I want to go back to some early things. So we're going to add 3 speeder bikes in there. They're only 70 points now also, and they're super ultra fast, right? They're speed 3. They get the compulsory move with speeder, so they get to go, they can move 3 times in that. They can completely traverse the board very, very quickly. And they're cool, man. They're really cool. So yeah, I put a couple of speeder bikes in this one because they are really good, and they always have been really good at getting around to those those snipers that want to kind of hide behind a bush or behind a rock or whatever, and they can just be like zoom 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 bam. That's kind of how it goes. You have to say that when you do it too. So they can do the zoom 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 bam really, really well. And so I thought that was fine. And I normally don't run vehicles with Krennic because Krennic is generally a little bit better for more of a dedicated Rogue One style list. But I think he still works with the bikes. The bikes aren't going to worry about the suppression and stuff like that too. So if he does put out some extra suppression if there's a lot of suppression out there. It's okay. The bikes don't care about it. Now, of course, they are fragile, so you have to play them a little bit defensively. But let's fill out the rest of this list. So one of the things I am going to do with Krennic is I'm going to give him electro binoculars. That's going to give him some additional support, give him something to do, because one of the times that when I used to run Krennic a lot, I used to find that there was, because of his lower range for his weapon, there was a lot of times where he wasn't doing anything. And so this gives him something to do, and I think electro binoculars is a great option for Krennic. Also, it's really good if you're going to have Death Troopers nearby. It's going to allow them to get an aim. They really, really do well with aims. And so I want to look at, I'm going to kind of take a break from what we're doing here. I'm going to jump down to command cards just a little bit. I'm going to put Krennic's 3 command cards in here because I think they're big things that influence a lot of what I'm doing in this build. So I already talked about Annihilation Looms, right? It's going to give everybody a suppression token. It gives Krennic in 2 units an activation there, but if it's round 5 or 6, they're going to gain additional suppression tokens, which is just a super cool thing to do late game, and hopefully make people drop objectives and panic off the board and just throw things completely upside down. Super fun card to be able to play. So that one's obviously going in. Deploy the Garrison is a really, really interesting one. This one is good for Death Troopers. It really is good for Death Troopers. They can get a free standby action. That means they also get a free aim. And then, of course, they can still potentially activate also. So I like it's just it's a cool way to make good use of Death Troopers. But I'm gonna include this one. I used to run this before we had certain upgrade cards. I used to run this as a way to make sure my Death Troopers had a free aim on the first turn, so this way they could move and shoot and get like really good range. Although that was a terrible waste of the potential of this card, this one works a lot better if your Death Troopers are like holding objectives. And so you'll see some of the objectives we deal with are kind of going to favor some sort of entrenched Death Troopers. And we'll put Voracious Ambition on there. This one is all right. It's not the greatest card out there. It gives you fairly good battlefield control, especially since I'm going to have a Commander, Special Forces, Support, and Core in this build. It gives me a little bit of flexibility. And if I don't I don't want to pull from the pile, but I really need to activate a speeder bike. Well, I have one of those supports here on this card. Kind of gives me a little bit better battlefield control. And so that's nice, but I think the stronger part of this one is that it's Krennic's specific card, so it's going to work in with that cunning, and it's going to help me win the tie when I really need to go first. Now that's what really the strength of this card. Krennic is somebody that probably could use slightly better command cards, but at least he has cunning, so that really helps. I think he'll need a rework if we start seeing a lot more commanders show up with cunning, and then all of a sudden his cunning ability doesn't matter so much anymore, and then he might be like, okay, time for some revised command cards for this guy. Either that or maybe just more of a points reduction, but he's already down to 75. I think he's all right now. And that's what we're here to find out, right? So here's what's going to go into the rest of this build. We know we're going to use Death Troopers. So let's go ahead and build a Death Trooper unit. Now, Death Troopers have seen a little bit of changes, right? They're only down to 72 points. They've seen a couple of things. First off, their armament now is free. So we're definitely going to put the E11D on them. I love this one, especially for the range 4. While I don't like to run snipers, I definitely like to run Death Troopers from time to time. They have that long range while not necessarily being as cheesy as snipers. So having them out there, we got 2 options for a heavy weapon. Now, the DLT-19 Delta is usually most people's favorite Death Trooper. You've got that range 1 to 4 shot. You've got really, really nice, types of dice there. 2 red and a white. It's absolutely beautiful, and definitely a good one to run. But at the same time, I sing the praises of DTF-16 an awful lot. She's awesome. She's got 2 health now, too. This is a newer thing. I've heard of even people getting new boxes of Death Troopers that have this errated print on there versus the old ones that don't. DTF-16 has Compel as well. So less range and less dice, but a really good support ability. Now, I don't take DTF-16 in Krennic builds because I've already got Compel. So I really don't need her. So in this case, I'm going to take the more expensive. Only 1 hit point, though, DLT-19 Delta. All right, so now that we've got the DLT-19 Delta in there, what else are we going to take? So normally, in modern Death Trooper builds, you always take offensive push. It's just a fantastic option. It's a really, really good upgrade card, and I'm definitely down for singing the praises of offensive push. It's going to give you tactical 1. It's exhaustible, but it's going to give you that aim token, so you can move up, shoot at range 4, and have 4 rerolls. It's so good, right? But I'm not going to take that one because I want to play these guys a little bit more defensively, and I also want to make better use of Krennic's 3 pips. So I'm actually going to take Overwatch on these guys. Overwatch is going to give them Sentinel, makes that standby range 1 to 3, makes that standby much, much better. I might be taking standby actions with them anyway because they do get a free aim token with that. Also, I'm going to be getting a free standby with these guys from Krennic's 2 pip, so I want to make sure that works. And we're going to put Overwatch, and I'm going to put another upgrade on here since we only have 1 health in the 19 Delta. Emergency Stims used to be a crazy expensive card. It's come back down to only 8 now. So we're going to take Emergency Stims on this one too, which is going to help them stay alive. I'm going to put some medics in here in a little bit, but the Emergency Stims is going to keep the Death Troopers, keep them fighting, keep them relevant, hopefully keep them alive throughout the game. And that's what I'm hoping for. That's all I'm going to put on the Death Troopers, but I'm going to double this up. I'm going to make this 2 units of that same Death Trooper unit. And again, I'm going to talk about the command cards again. I want, when I play Deploy the Garrison, this is for 2 troopers. I want those 2 Death Troopers to get the free standbys. Okay. Of course, one of them can be activated through Krennic's entourage. That's fine, but only 2 people can get the free standby token. And I think those are going to go best to 2, kitted out Death Troopers. And so that's the point of having 2 Death Troopers with, the emergency stims and Overwatch. I want them to survive long enough to have the opportunity to really take advantage of that, get the free aim, and with Precise 2. It's a really, really nice setup if you can make it work. And I think I want to do that. Now onto our core. We're going to do a little bit of thematic stuff. We are going to put an order of shore troopers in here. And we're going to add a mortar as well. And the shore troopers are going to be a little bit kind of typical. They're going to put the T21B, just a great heavy. He's got critical 1 on there, and he's going to work really well. Great dice pool on him too. So we're going to put the T21B in there. We're going to put the comms technician. The comms technician is going to give us that comms, and we're going to take HQ uplink. So when we have to, we can make sure that we get that order token, get the free aim, and pass an order over to the mortar, who also has fire support. And this is a really nice piece to work with this entire build. So this mortar is, I love fire support. I love adding 3 dice to somebody else's attack. I think it's a considerable option with someone like Krennic. If he comes into that point where he has to attack, all of a sudden now he's got Sharpshooter, Surge to Crit, and Pierce 1, and 3 dice. So now all of a sudden that turns into, if you do fire support, now it's a 6 dice piercing attack with Sharpshooter and Surge to Crit. So he could potentially do that. Granted, he's not the first option. The Death Troopers are probably a really good option also, right? They've got Surge to Hit at least, and they're going to have aim tokens. So they're going to have more reroll possibilities. But here's also a suppressive attack. And of course we want to have some suppression out there. I'm not going all in with suppression. I think if you wanted to go all in with suppression, there's different options you could take. You might take E-webs with the suppressive generator and things like that instead. There are options like that, but I think this is still a really solid core option. That's going to get us 2 core, and we're going to put 2 more stormtroopers in there. And these are just going to be our objective holders and our support stormtroopers. We're going to add the FX9 medical droid, and we'll double that. So these 2 stormtroopers are going to be following the Death Troopers around, and they're going to be there to heal the Death Troopers. And that's one of the reasons why we have emergency stims here. Look, like if we get shot too hard, especially before the rebels can move up to heal, that's when we're going to trigger emergency stims. So then the rebels can move up and potentially heal us next turn when emergency stims actually triggers. Maybe then we do a recovery and be prepared to do that again. I want to keep the Death Troopers alive. This is a great way to do that. And that's going to bring us to 797 points. Now, we have 2 points left. One of the things that we can do is we can put something like we can throw a little bonus on the shore troopers here by taking recon intel. I think is a good way. Whenever you have 2 or more points left over, if you don't really need the bid, which I usually don't go for a bid. I like recon intel here because it's going to let those short troopers move out, and then you have the detachment mortar, and it gives you a lot better flexibility to place that mortar in a lot more different positions if the short troopers get to move after they deploy. So that's a kind of a fun one. You don't have to take recon intel there. If you'd rather have a little more of a bid, you can do that. So we talked about command cards a little bit. We do have we have to put 2 more in there. Now, I really like Covert Observation. This fits into the suppressive theme. And since we do have Special Forces, this will be a good 1-pip to give to a Death Trooper, and then let Krennic do his entourage for the other one. That's going to take both Death Troopers out of the mix. That's just a great option. So we already have both of our 1-pips. We have Push, or we have Pinned Down. Now, Pinned Down is a really good one, although it's going to be risky here. Right, it's definitely going to be risky here because you only have the supports. You don't have any heavies. You're going to have those spikes, and this is going to let them shoot somebody with a face up and shuffle it back into their order pool. This is so strong against certain builds. If somebody has some type of fire support or like I know Rex plays his 1-pip. He just gets to keep fire supporting over and over again and stuff like that. This is one of those cards that can be game breaking, but at the same time, it can be tricky to play this if you're Krennic and your bikes are out of range. I think it's worth it might be safer to go with Push, but I'm going to go with Pinned Down because I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And I'm going to skip coordinated fire. My core units aren't going to be firing that much here, so I'll keep the flexibility of taking assault instead of coordinated fire. And this also means if Krennic dies, I've got I have some good solid backup cards that I can use for a new nominated commander. For battle cards, I don't always go over the battle cards as much, but what we're going to do here is I'm going to start off with Bombing Run. I think Bombing Run's the best one here. I've got 3 speeder bikes. I can put 3 bombs on them. That's going to be like the dream objective for me. I think Key Positions is going to be a good one, especially for if I can get the Death Troopers into position to kind of hold down that middle zone, especially when it comes to that last turn. This is a great turn 6. You play Annihilation Looms. Your Death Troopers then get to do the maybe they take a standby and just wait for people to come in and just start deleting units, and you take that defensive position with the units. I think that's going to work well here. Breakthrough is always a good one when you got speeder bikes. That's a fun one, and I think Payload is kind of a little bit of a middle ground one. It seems like it's an option. For this one, I like Long March whenever I've got fast speeder units. Long March can be fun there. Major Offensive is generally always a good one. I think Disarray will work really well with speeder bikes. They can start off. I don't need to activate support, and since I have 3 of them and I can activate other stuff, I still have pretty good control. And so I like that one. And then I'll go with Battle Lines because it's safe and familiar and it's easy to play at the table. For conditions, I don't have too much in the way of long-range shooting, so I like limited visibility because I'm trying to play the Death Troopers a little bit more defensively. Again, this factors in my whole fear of snipers, or my nightmare about snipers, right? So I think limited visibility works. I think hostile environment's going to factor in well with all the suppression that I'm going to try and push out. Supply drop is always a cool one, and since I have vehicles and biological units in case I get backed or the little repair tool, or the arc welder or whatever, I'm still good there. Supply drop's just a groovy card to have, and I'll put clear conditions out there because it's one of those that it's not going to hurt me too bad. I'm not super crazy about some of the other ones. Not super crazy about it. I mean, rapid reinforcements could be a weird one. But no, I don't think that's going to benefit me there. So clear conditions, and that is the build. I will put a link to this down in the video description, so you can check that out. And also, don't forget to check out luxury playstyle. Get your tokens in. Use code Crabbok VIP. That's going to do it for today's video, guys. I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with me today. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are amazing. Let me know what you think of this build down in the comment sections. Join our Discord. Love to have you over there. And as always, may the force be with you.